Yeah, overall, we're pretty good, you know. A bit of clean bill of health, really, coming from it. It was a tough match, really, especially the first half. You know, Connacht asked a lot of questions of us. Yeah, we came through it in the end, which was a positive thing. Yeah, fair play, you know. The opening exchanges were interesting, to say the least. Yeah, that's what I suppose all derbies are about. Is being able to, you know, just control your emotions a little bit. Yeah, just glad to get away with a win.
And obviously another derby upcoming as well. What do you expect from this Munster side?
Yeah, it'll be a tough ask again, you know, to go down there. I think they'll be out to prove a point. You know, certain key individuals. You know, as well as collectively as a team as well, you know. Yeah, it'll be a tough ask again to go down there. You know, really looking forward to it. Yeah, it'll be another big game for us.
With the Six Nations done and dusted now at this stage, focus obviously kind of shifts back onto club rugby. And at these games, obviously you take them obviously in all seriousness, but you know you have the Heineken Champions Cup coming up as well. How do you balance between being competitive in a competition that you're doing very well in already, with knowing that, you know, obviously the big prize at the end of the day is the European Cup?
Yeah, well, you know, Leo's well versed in that, you know, and with Stewart, etc. With regards to getting that balance, they know exactly what it takes to hit that balance right. You know, personally, I'm not looking any further than the next game. It's important we, you know, try and maintain a certain amount of momentum. You know, and it's fine margins at this level as well. You know, if you take your eye off the ball for a minute, then you know, who knows what can happen. So we just got to keep on top of things and keep on pushing each other. You know, stressed. You know, today with the boys coming back from the Six Nations, you know, we need to get on the same page pretty quickly, really, because it's a big test against Munster, and you know, it's tight at the top of the URC. You know, you can see all the South African teams there moving up. You know, we've got 2 tough games out in South Africa ourselves coming up, so it's all to play for, really, and you know, every point matters. So you know, you can't afford to take your eye off the ball, and you know, there's nobody better really than Leo. You know, with his track record, knowing how to get that balance right.
And listen, finally from me, we spoke before about obviously the Six Nations time when Leinster are playing, and you're having to promote younger players on, or players who might be on the fringe, to get a chance to prove their point. Has there been 1 or 2 players who've surprised you over the past few weeks and have kind of reworked themselves into a position now coming towards the end of the season where they may have a larger role to play?
Yeah, I wouldn't say surprised, but it's just good to see players taking the opportunity when it comes along. You know, I think Joe McCarthy's a fine example of that. Who's really you know, taking his opportunities when he's played for Leinster. You know, as a young man coming through the ranks. So yeah, he's only one. But there are plenty of others as well. You know, Thomas Clarkson, young tight end, getting an opportunity as well to come through. You know, I'm going to be biased to the forwards anyway, but yeah, you know, it's great to see them having that opportunity. You know, Martin Maloney's another one who's had the opportunity up front. So yeah, it's great to see them.
That's great, Rob. Best luck the weekend.
Thank you.
Hi Robin, how's it going? Michael here in RTE.
Hi there.
Robin, I know there was no update on Ronan Kelleher, but there was some pictures of him. Was he doing contact today, or how was he getting on?
No, I wasn't doing contact today. He was just doing a little bit of throw-in and yeah, some scrum setups. So he's making progress.
Very good. Just at the start of the match, you kind of said it there. The start of the weekend's match, you kind of mentioned it was lots of incident-packed, I'll say. Is there more time spent now on calming guys down before a match, or is there much conversation about it? Because we've seen in the last few weeks challenges early on in the match, and naturally enough, when you're going to a physical battle, you want to have lads pitched up. But how do you make sure you have the balance right between a lad who wants to make a big first hit and being careful?
I think everybody's aware of the consequences of not getting it quite right. I mean, it's fine margins again, with regards to the height of a tackle or just mistiming of a jump. So you've always got to be aware of it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's at the start of the game or not. Everybody's aware of the consequences, and rightly so, with the head injuries, etc. So try and make the game as safe as possible. I suppose it's tough. It comes with a little bit of experience as well. The more experience you get, the more familiar you are with playing in front of passionate crowds, passionate supporters, and it's great to see them back as well. And they all add to the occasion. So it's great that the spectators are back, because it adds so much to it as a spectacle. With those fine margins. I know they've trialled the 20 minutes or a red card. I think there's got to be a place for it, because it's fine margins, and sometimes we've gone from it not being a red card, the same incident not being a red card to being a red card, and you just feel the energy drain out of a stadium when somebody gets red carded early on in the game. We saw that in the Six Nations. Saw it on the weekend, and it just detracts from the game a little bit, as a spectacle. But yeah, fair play to Connacht. I think they thrived on it. They used the supporters as their 15th man, not a 16th man, but definitely sparked them up a little bit as well.
And just in terms of getting frontliners back, is it important that the Ireland lads have a run out before the Champions Cup starts? Are you expecting to be able to call on the likes of Johnny and Gary and Robbie and the forwards for this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's looking at each individual case with regards to the amount of minutes played, etc. I think some people with a lot of minutes under their belt, they'd be better off having a rest. Again, I think Leo's better positioned than I am. He talks to the players on a regular basis and has done. So it's getting that balance right. So I think that falls into that same bracket really.
And can I just ask you about the scrums these days? We've seen a match like Ireland-England where Ireland were kind of well beaten in the scrums, but they won the match. And another couple of examples recently where the scrum hasn't been the dominant force, we'll say, or the telling factor in the result of a match. How much has it changed from your point of view? Because nowadays, if you're held up over the line, obviously it's not a scrum, so there's less scrum. The guys are more skillful with their handling, so there's fewer knock-ons. How much has the importance of the scrum changed over the last few years?
I still think it's vitally important. You've only got to look at Leicester and how well they're going, and they're on top of the Gallagher Premiership. Their game on the weekend against Exeter Chiefs, where they were gaining scrum penalties, which gives them territory, which gives them opportunities to score tries. So you need that scrum to have that importance. Otherwise, players' shapes are going to change, and it will no longer become a game for all shapes and sizes. Same as the lineup as well. So. I think there was, looking back at that one game, that England Ireland game. I think since then, I think there's been quite a bit said about it with regards to the way that England chose a scrimmage. So the referee in the day, he rewarded pictures of dominance in his mind. Given his time back, would he make the same calls again? Who knows?
Okay, thanks very much, Robin. Best of luck.
Cheers, thank you.
Robin, it's Don here. Connacht kind of rely on passion when they're playing. How important is passion for a well-oiled team like Leinster?
It's key. It's a very passionate game, rugby. You've got to play with passion, otherwise you're going to come second best all the time. It's been able to manage and channel that passion, channel that energy. You come up against certain teams that can't control that passion, and they overstep the mark, but you need it 100%.
Yeah, there's a lot of players now moving around. Like, Jordy Murphy went up to Munster, and David Hawkshaw. And not sure if it's too late to reverse that deal, but even Peter Dooley. with players like that, do you get attached to those players and then suddenly they're gone from Leinster?
Yeah, of course. You know, you work with these players day in, day out. You try and improve them, you try and make them better players, and then sometimes, you know, the opportunity comes for them to move on, and that's just the way it is. You know, so, but you still want the best. You still wish the best for those players. So, you know, it's good to see duels on the weekend. Again. So, yeah, it's tough, but it's the nature of the world we live in, unfortunately.